Welcome back to Man Down Sports. As you can see from the thumbnail, we want to talk about the Phoenixsuns and their trade for Bradley Beal. Kind of get into the weeds of it and see if this is a good move. Was it a bad move? There's a lot of people that think different about it. Some people think they're a contender, and some people think this is just a bad situation, similar to the Brooklyn Nets. And some people think that didn't work. So I'm gonna talk about all that stuff. I'm gonna talk about KD and his quote unquote super teams that failed, and all of that stuff, man. Because that's a lot of chatter that's been going on about this trade. I want to talk about what they can do to get better, what they can do to make that bench good, and build around Booker, Beal, and KD. Are they gonna be contenders? Is all that stuff. I'm gonna get all of the Phoenix stuff, but also I want to talk about the Draymond Green opt out. Because that happened over the weekend as well. Mike Dunleavy and the owner Joe Lacob, they oppressed the media and talked about some of that stuff. So when we get into what Dunleavy said and what I think Draymond Green is going to do, Zion is still in the news with his situation, and then the NBA draft is coming up, man. So I kind of want to talk about just the Hornets in that number 2 pick. If Scoot Henderson is going to be the guy, and and how that's going to look and all that stuff. But before we get all started, man, make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube. Share the video as well. And this video is brought to you by Manscaped. Manscaped is our sponsor. Make sure you go and use our promo code MANDOWN to get 20% off. But here's a word from the sponsor. And we are brought to you by Manscaped, man. Support Man Down Sports. And it's brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below the waist grooming. Their products and precision engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's performance package is the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. So join over 8 million men worldwide. That's 16 million balls, right? 16 million balls worldwide, man.
Dog.
Exactly, and they trust exactly. They trust Manscaped with the and you can get it with an exclusive offer just for Man Down followers. You get 20% off, and you get free worldwide shipping with the code Man Down at manscaped.com. Right, so don't forget, man. That's 8 million men worldwide, 16 million balls, man. So
two of those 16 million is mine.
And 2 of them is mine. Hey, I definitely been working with him, man. But yeah, man. So my package is finally here, man. It's a game changer for sure, man. I got that 4.0, right? It comes with that lawnmower 4.0, right? Real nice. You said like, come on, right? Kind of quiet, real precision tool. It's waterproof. This is gonna work good, man. You can groom yourself in the shower, man. All that good stuff. It also came with this trimmer, right? And this is for your nose and your nose hairs and all that stuff. It came, and we call this the weed whacker. You can use it for your ears, your nose, or whatever. Then it came with that crop preserver ball deodorant. Now this is what you need right here, Chris, right here. Because I know, like during the day you need that touch up. You know what I mean? You need that little touch up and or whatnot, man. And then the crop reviver as well. All this stuff is good, man. They come with boxer briefs. Came with a nice little leather bag, man, to keep everything in, right? You know what I'm saying? So we rocking and rolling over here, man. And last thing I say, man, just from a personal experience, man. Like I don't talk about balls often, right? I really don't. All right. But when I do talk about balls, I'm not talking about the fuzzy ones, right? This is too hairy for me, right? I like a smooth ball, right? I'm talking about smooth, right? Nothing on it, no peach fuzz, no lint, none of that stuff, man. And it's going to give you that proper release, rotation, and splash. I promise you ain't getting no release with no fuzzy balls, right? So if you want your girl or your significant other to go down on your little mans, use the promo code MANDOWN at manscaped.com and get you this 4.0, baby. All right.
Now, hey,
cut the check.
cut the check.
Cut the check.
Don't forget, man, 20% off, man. Go right now, man. 20% off.
Hey, 20% off is a crazy deal for Manscaped too. They got great products. That's a deal.
Hey, how many times you rehearsed that, dog?
It one take hold, baby.
Oh,
Rehearse? What's that?
All right, man. So make sure you go check out Manscaped at manscaped.com. You get 20% off if you use our promo code man down. But let's get into it, man. So Phoenixsuns, they trade for Bradley Beal. They got somewhat of a big three. I wouldn't call it a super team. A lot of people call them a super team. I got my own definition of super team, and it doesn't meet my definition of super team. I go over it real quick. My definition of a super team is any team that has three or more proven superstars, and a proven superstar to me is a great player, because we all agree that all three of those guys are great players. But a proven superstar is a guy who has proved and shown that he can, as the number one guy, carry a team successfully. And Bradley Beal has not shown that he's tried as a number one to carry a team successfully. He hasn't done it. He has put up big numbers, but so has Ricky Davis when he was a number one in Charlotte. So putting up big numbers is, good players can do it. Great players and superstars can put up big numbers and carry a team to some type of playoff success and regular season success. So I wouldn't call Bradley Beal a superstar. I think Bradley Beal is kind of in that realm of maybe how Kevin Love was when he was in Minnesota. Kevin Love wasn't a superstar, but he put up big numbers in Minnesota, and he formed a big three with the Miami Heat, or not the Miami Heat, but the Cleveland Cavs, right? So if Love was a superstar, then I would have considered the Cleveland Cavaliers a super team when they had Kyrie, LeBron, and Love. But Love was not a superstar, and that's how I see Bradley Beal. I see him in that tier that Kevin Love is in. Great player, all-star player. Can put up big numbers as if he was a superstar, but not quite. So it's not a super team. So we can exit that all together, and then let's dispel all the bad mouthing and then talking about Kevin Durant forming super teams. This is not one of them. This is just him trying to get better with the roster he has and the team he has. And there was an opportunity for them with an aging Chris Paul making $20 million a year at 38, who wasn't able to make it throughout the last season healthy. And then when he did get healthy and get in the playoffs, he wasn't even make it through the playoffs. Right. So, I mean, you're trying to rely on someone that's 38 toward the end of his contract, and he's the second or third, not second, but third highest paid player on the squad, but the least reliable in terms of him getting on the court and all that stuff. And then his age, it was a good move for the franchise. The only downfall I would see with it is the salary that Bradley Beal brings is huge. It's a huge salary. It's $43 million next year. So it was only 20 for Chris Paul. Was it 20 for Chris Paul or 30? It was 30 for Chris Paul, right? So Bradley Beal is a whole nother 13 million more than what Chris Paul was going to hit you with on the salary. So that's huge, because it was already strapped for cash. That was already struggling to try to build that bench and build that roster around Kevin Durant and Booker. But this makes it harder. But so you bring a negative with it as far as money. And as far as being able to maneuver to get more pieces, but you upgrade it, right? And players, you got younger. I would say you got healthier, even though Bradley Beal, has been missing games the last 2-3 years, but it's not the major injuries. It's it's like injuries that he probably could play through if he wanted to. But for the Wizards out, I'm gonna chill on that, right? Kind of like Draymond Green did when he had a little small injury that he could have played through, or he could have just elected to get the surgery. And, that year, it was the year after Kevin Durant left. Klay Thompson was hurt, and it was just him and Steph. And then Steph got hurt early on. And then Draymond only played 5 more games, and then he elected to have the surgery. So that's, those are the type of injuries I see Bill having. I don't think that's going to be an issue for him moving forward. He's just a 29-year-old guy. He stays in shape, so, and I think he's gonna be pretty durable. Moving forward with that, right? So it's not a super team. It's just upward mobility with the roster, trying to get better. But now they're in the situation. Now, what do we do? How do we build around it? right? It's not enough right now, and I quite frankly I don't like anything that's on this roster, right? So these are the free agents that's coming up: Torrey Craig, Bismarck Biyombo, Baisley, T.J. Warren, Damian Lee, Josh Okogie, Jock Landale, who I like in the playoffs. I like his energy, so I'm gonna the names that are highlighted. I'm gonna think about keeping. Everyone that's not highlighted, they're gone, right? Wainwright, not bringing them back. Now these are guys that are playing basically for the vet minimum, most of them. So we gonna keep them all in mind when we try to build this roster, right? Terrence Ross I like as well. I just think he needed more time with that team to fit in and learn the offense and find his place. So I'm thinking about Terrence Ross. I'm thinking about Jock Landale just by the energy he brings and the effort and the hustle. You always need a guy like that. You never know when you're going to be able to plug him in and he going to give you something. And he's also a guy that's going to be appreciative just to be on the roster. So you don't have to play him if you don't want to, right? He can go a couple of games with DNPs, and then when you put him in, he can miss 2-3 straight games with no minutes, and then you put him in, he's going to play like he's the starter. So you never want to lose a guy like that. So I'm going to keep Jock Landale in mind, right? Jock Landale in mind. I'm definitely keeping Terrence Ross in mind. TJ Warren, maybe, but I think I can get some better pieces, right? So these are the guys. I'm letting all of those go. Before I re-sign anybody, I'm letting all of them go. But Terrence Ross and Jock Landale and Josh Okogie, I'm thinking about, right? So what we have now is we know we got KD locked up, we got Booker locked up, we got Bradley Beal locked up, we got Ayton locked up, right? And there's one more guy, but just keep those four in mind because that's huge. That's like 160 mil of their roster. So right away we know we gotta get rid of DeAndre Ayton's contract. And instead of me giving one guy 30 mil, I want to see if I can get two starters or maybe two really good players for that same amount, for that same 30 mil, right? I'd rather have two guys for 30 mil than one guy, or maybe I can even get three guys for 30 mil, right? So what I want to do is I want to go shopping. Well, first I want to see what I can get in a trade for DeAndre Ayton. Let me bring this up real quick. There's one trade, and here's two trades, right? Okay, so let me bring this up real quick. Detroit Pistons. So this is what I'm thinking about. So DeAndre Ayton, that's 30 mil, right? If I can get two guys, I can replace DeAndre Ayton with another center, and I can get another guy that can start for me for that same amount. So I'm looking at Detroit. I'm looking at Jonathan Wiseman. They might be redundant at some positions because they got Jonathan Wiseman at the 5, but they also drafted his college teammate Durant, and he's playing 4 or 5, right? And then they also got Marvin Bagley, who's playing 4 and 5. So they got some redundancy at the 5 position, right? Can I give them a number 1 pick for another number 1 pick? Can I get them a former number 1 pick in Ayton for a former number 1 pick in Wiseman and swap that? Ayton has proved to be more helpful for his squads right now, but that salary is hurting me so much that I'm willing to downgrade a little bit to bring in the young kid that's unproven. Can I do that? And to make the money work, are you willing to come off of Bogdanovic? Because I know you got Cade Cunningham coming back. He's gonna need those minutes. You got Jaden Ivey. You got a lot of young people, which is interesting because this is where Monty Williams is at. What kind of relationship does he have with the Suns? I don't think he's gonna be making GM decisions, but is this something that can be done? If so, I think about it because now I'm getting a 2-for-1. I got two guys for that same 30 mil. And both of those guys can help me out. I don't need my 5-man to be like this unstoppable scorer. I got 3 of those guys. I got 3 guys that's unstoppable. That's how Golden State do it. They got Kevon Looney. Kevon Looney rarely takes any shots. But with this offense with KD, Bradley Beal, and Booker, Wiseman is he's gonna get reliable opportunities. They're gonna run the floor, so he's gonna get, he runs like a deal, so he's gonna get opportunities in the open court, right? Probably not a lot of post ups, but with this floor spacing, he might get an opportunity to hit a lot of elbow jump shots, and maybe even stretch it to the three if he's working it hard this summer to work on his three. And then Bogdanovich is a guy who can defend the 3 and the 4, and then he can shoot at a ton. So I like that. Keep that in mind. I know Toronto is in, maybe some bit of a rebuild mode, but here's a 3-for-1, right? Can I get Anunoby? Otto Porter Jr. is someone who no one trusts to stay healthy and on the floor. Could I get Otto Porter Jr.? And then to make the money match up a little backup point guard in Flynn? Could I do something like that? But let's just say this Pistons trade is possible. There's another trade that's possible as well, because Portland is looking to do some things, and they have Grant, who is a free agent, but can they discuss a sign and trade with him? He made about 20 last year. So can I get Jeremy Grant, and maybe Nurkic for Ayton? Maybe not, right? Or can I get Portland to agree to a 3-team trade where I'm still working with Detroit. I still get Wiseman. Detroit will get Ayton. Bogdanovich would actually go to Portland, and the sign and trade will end up getting Grant. And can they work it out that way where we end up with Grant on our roster and Wiseman on our roster, right? So just keep that in mind. Detroit and Portland, Jeremy Grant or Bogdanovich, whichever one. I'm cool with both of them, but I think I got more upside defensively. And with the team, with Grant being so versatile and being able to switch screens and play the 4 and the 3, he can even guard some 2s as well. So I think that'll be real fun to play with. So keep that in mind as well. So once I make that trade, Ayton's gone. That $30 million cap hit. I got 2 players for the price of 1. And now I'm going shopping in the free agency, right? Now I'm going point guard shopping, right? There's a lot of point guards out there. I don't want to be real small with my point guards. I want some size. So, but I also want some defense and some shooting. So I don't know. You think about it. There's Dennis Schroeder up top. He played for the vet minimum in LA. I know a lot of rumors are that Chris Paul might be going to LA now that he got in that trade. He might get bought out in Washington, so he might go to LA. So if he goes to LA and they're trying to sign Austin Reeves, they got to let one of those guards go. They got Lonnie Walker, they got Dennis Schroeder, they got Malik Beasley, all free agents, right? They're not keeping all 3 of those guys along with Austin Reeves and Chris Paul if they bring him in. So whichever one of those guys is gone, I'm taking. Now, you will not go see Walker on this list because they got him listed as a shooting guard, and you see him at the bottom of the screen, Lonnie Walker. But to me, he's a point guard, and he can play point guard. He did both for the Lakers. So whichever one of those guys come available, I'm snagging, right? Perfect scenario, I think it would be Schroeder. He's been on playoff teams. He's a vet, and he's cheap, and he plays really good defense, and he can knock down the open shot, the open 3. He can get to the hole. He's a floor general. I like Schroeder, but if Schroeder's not available and I have to get Lonnie Walker, I'm cool with that. But for this scenario, let's say we get Dennis Schroeder, right? There's a lot of shooting out there. Lonnie Walker, you got Malik Beasley, you got Matt Strauss, you got defense right there with Thabalou. Let's say we re-sign Josh Okogie. Maybe we just keep him. We re-sign him, right? Maybe not. But for now, I know I got Schroeder. I'm picking Schroeder up, right? Small forward, Cam Johnson. Could he come back? Maybe he felt like he played good in Brooklyn and he's looking for a huge contract. So we might not be able to afford him. I don't know what Herb Jones' situation is going to be. I'm pretty sure the Pelicans like to keep them. But can we get Jay Crowder back? He wanted a lot of money. He sat out last year. They tried to get a long contract with the Suns. Sat out the whole year. Finally got picked up by the Bucks. The Bucks barely played him. Is he going to be looking for that same amount of money now? Can we go and negotiate with him, bring him in? Maybe we can get Jay Crowder, or maybe Watanabe, which was a hustle guy, defensive guy, catch and shoot 3-point guy. I like Watanabe as well, but in this scenario, we get Dre Crowder. Power forwards, I mean, some good ones out there. Trey Lyles, Jeff Green leaving from the defending champs. He might not resign. There's Jeremy Grant up the top, Harrison Barnes. Like, there's a lot of options at forward. But like I said, in that scenario, somehow in that trade, either we deal with Portland with a signing trade and swapping Ayton and Nurkic, or we get a 3-team trade where we're getting Bogdanovic and Wiseman, but we're sending Bogdanovic to Portland in the signing trade for Jeremy Grant. That's my scenario. Trey Lyles is also a good pickup for real cheap. These are guys that we probably can get for the vet minimum, except Jeremy Grant. But the other guys, they're going to be probably looking for their vet minimum on a contender. And then you got all types of options at the center position, right? Do you want all defense and rebounding? There's Andre Drummond. If you want some shooting and some veteran leadership, there's Kevin Love. If you want some young talent who can stretch the floor, who also got size, there's Moritz Wagner from Orlando. I really like him. I think the Lakers drafted him, man. He was real good player. A lot of people don't know about how good he is, man, but you got that. But if all that fails, you can always go and call Dwight Howard and DeMarcus Cousins. So in this scenario, I'm going DeMarcus. No, I'm going Dwight, right? I'm going Dwight. So the roster is going to look like my starting five. That's my backcourt of Bill Booker. Then I got Durant, Jeremy Grant, and Wiseman, right? Everybody's long and athletic. They're going to buy in. They're going to be defensive. And then my bench, I'm coming off the bench with Schroeder, Ross, Crowder, Trey Lyles, Dwight Howard. That's hard to beat. That's a 10-man rotation that I think is a contender, and it's not hard to get. Everybody on my bench right there, you can get everybody on the bench for the vet minimum. Everybody on the bench you can get for the vet minimum. Schroeder, Ross is already there, just re-sign him vet minimum. Crowder, he might be the only one that's a little bit different because he set out the whole last season trying to get a contract, trying to get more money. So that one might be a little tricky, but I mean, I don't mind going elsewhere. We had a list of forwards that we could have got right. Trey Lyles vet minimum again. We don't know if Sacramento, if they're smart, they'll continue to keep Lyles. You know, they'll keep Lyles there if they're smart. And then Dwight Howard just sitting in Tawan, just waiting on somebody to call him. That's not hard to build your bench, right? It's not hard at all, right? So in the starting lineup, all it takes is you finding a trade partner for Ayton and getting a 2-for-1, right? You already got your 3. You already got your wings. Can you get a forward in the center for DeAndre Ayton and your second round draft pick that you got, which is like number 52, right? So there's your 10-man roster. A couple of more guys that you might keep to make it a 12-man roster. You probably can keep TJ Warren, maybe even Torrey Craig for defense, right? And then, like I said, Jock Landale as well, right? So I think that's very possible. I think those pieces fit. I think Frank Vogel know what to do with that. They have a good defensive philosophy. I think if they stay healthy, I think they can make some noise. Just like Brooklyn, if they stay healthy, they could have made some noise, right? They just wasn't making the right moves in Brooklyn as far as building that roster. They was making it harder for them to be a good defensive team. They kept going out and getting these shooters, but they kept going out and getting shooters that was like undersized. Like you go get Seth Curry, that's cool, but you're gonna put like you want to play Kyrie. And you got James Harden. So James Harden's a big guard at the 2, but if he's if James Harden is a point guard, who is not that good defensively, and you got this smaller guy in Kyrie, what backcourt are you going to guard? One of them can't play defense in Harden. The effort ain't even there. And then Kyrie can play defense. He got a bad reputation of not playing defense, but he can play defense very well. It's just that he's undersized and he's always guarding guys this is probably bigger than him. But when he's locked on someone his size under, he's locked in pretty good. But so you had those liabilities on defense in your starting backcourt, and then you come off the bench with Seth and you was putting him at the 2 because of his shooting ability, right? Then you had Patty Mills was small. Then you had Gordon Dragic. Then you had Bruce Brown playing power forward. I mean, he just won a championship in Denver playing the point. They had him off the bench playing in the backcourt. Brooklyn had him come off the bench playing the 4. As a matter of fact, I think he was starting against Boston at the 4. As a matter of fact, I think game 1 against Boston in the playoffs 2 years ago, I think Seth Curry started with Kyrie Irving. And Bruce Brown started. So it was a lineup of Andre Drummond at the 5, Kevin Durant at the 4, Bruce Brown at the 3, and in the backcourt was Seth Curry and Kyrie. Imagine trying to guard Tatum, Brown, and Marcus Smart, Grant Williams, Al Horford, and Tatum, Brown, Smart, Grant Williams, Al Horford. That's a huge lineup. So who's guarding who? They had Kyrie on Marcus Smart. They had Seth on Grant Williams because they felt like, well, he's the least offensive guy. We'll put the smallest guy on our squad, and hopefully they don't go in the post. Dumbest idea in the world, man. I don't know what the Brooklyn Nets was doing, but if they would have done it right in Brooklyn, and despite all of that, how horrible they was with the front office, the year before that, when Harden and Kyrie was healthy and they was in the playoffs, they was beating the brakes off of the Bucks. They looked like they was going to gentleman sweep them, right? So despite them not building the roster properly, they was almost in it. So I mean, I think the same thing for Phoenix. I think they got a chance. It's just gonna take them putting the right pieces on the floor and building that roster around those 3 guys, man. So I think that's easy money. I don't see anything to fret about. It's just good. Now the other things that they're talking about is they're saying who's your point guard. Well, you can get a point guard. You can start that point guard depending on the team you're playing. Let's say it's Schroeder or Walker. You can start them and have that line up and have Booker at the 3 and Beal at the 2 and Schroeder at the 1. And then you can play KD at the 4. And then you can have your 5, whether it's going to be Dwight or Wiseman. You could do it that way. And then Grant will be coming off the bench. Or you can have the lineup where I just showed you where the backcourt is Booker and Beal. And I don't think there's an issue of who's going to play make, depending on what type of offense of sets and what type of offensive philosophy you have. Because if you look at a team like the Bulls when Phil Jackson was there, it didn't matter who the point guard was because the triangle offense was facilitating the offense. You don't always need a point guard like John Stockton to set everything up. Or you don't need Luka to set everything up or LeBron to set everything up. You don't need that. You can have an offense that facilitates when you run it versus, hey, we just go high screen and roll and we go rely on our point guard to make all those plays. I don't like that anyway, right? So it's not an issue of who's gonna bring the ball up and start the offense. It was Booker when CP3 was hurt half the season last year, and it was Booker when CP3 was hurt in the playoffs. And then when Cameron Payne got healthy enough to play, they threw him out there, but he only started the games, he didn't finish. So it was Booker down the stretch, right? So Booker is more than capable, and so is Beal. They can take turns doing that, and then they can have their pure point guard coming off the bench whenever they need it. So that's real easy. The other thing about was the defense. Everybody said the defense. Like I said, it's a misnomer for you to think Devin Booker don't play defense. Devin Booker locks up. He plays defense. These guys are just so offensively gifted that their defense goes unnoticed. Even Kevin Durant, the shots he blocked at the rim on help side and on his man, and then when he switches the screen at the top of the key or on the perimeter, he plays a real good defense on the perimeter as well. So I'm not worried about this squad. I like that they brought in Vogel. He gonna be concentrating on the defensive end. I don't know who his other coaches are, so I don't know what type of offensive philosophy they gonna have. But I'm excited to see it. I think Phoenix is gonna be. I think they're gonna be good. All right. So the other news was Draymond Green was opting out, or he announced that he was opting out of his contract. It was like 27.5 mil that he was owed for the season. But the report says that he opted. I mean, first of all, he's under Clutch Sports. These guys are master manipulators. You know what I mean? Come on, anything dealing with LeBron, you know it's gonna, you know, they're gonna leverage what they can leverage, right? Right now, as we speak, they have pictures of LeBron and Draymond Green in France on vacation together. So think about if you're the Warriors front office, Draymond Green says, I'm opting out, right, of my deal. And then they're publicly already said, we're not a playoff team. We're not a contender without Draymond. So now you're saying this guy is as important as Steph Curry, right? Then the GM comes out and says, we want Draymond back, you know, so you're giving him leverage, right? Which is cool. You know, I mean, I'd rather them do that than play games like the front office of Brooklyn and Kyrie last year. So you're letting them know we want you back. You're important. So if I'm the agent, if I'm Rich Paul, if I'm Clutch Sports, I know, hey, well, look, I can leverage you for more money. I don't have to take the hometown discount. I can ask you for a 3-year deal, and I can ask you for a max. I'm going to ask you for the max, and you're going to give it to me because you've already told the whole world that we're not a contender without me. So you can't come to the table and ask me to take less. So now the part about them posturing and them going to France and being seen in France on vacation, that's just, hey, look, man, either I got two things for on you. You're saying I'm very important to your team and your roster. On top of the point, if you don't give me what I'm asking for, I don't mind walking. I'm already out here talking to LeBron anyway. I go to the Lakers, which is a Western Conference team that put us out this year. I go join them, make them better, and they're going to give me the money I want because it's all Clutch Sports over there. So Jenny Buss go make sure, yeah, give him the money. LeBron say, okay, if LeBron said it's okay, yeah, we trust LeBron. Give him the money, bring Draymond over here, and then you mess around and have a lineup of Anthony Davis, Draymond, and LeBron in your front court. And then Reeves and whoever else they bring back, whether it's going to be Schroeder, Malik Beasley, or Lonnie Walker, or if they bring CP3 back. Imagine if they bring CP3 in for the vet minimum. You got CP at the 1, Reeves at the 2, LeBron at the 3, Draymond Green at the 4, AD at the 5. They look good defensively, other than CP3 getting cooked a little bit, but you can take him right out of the game and throw in your backup, which would be Lonnie Walker or Dennis Schroeder or whoever else, you know. So, yeah, he got some leverage. And unfortunately for the Warriors, I don't think Draymond opted out. Now, this is what I thought at first. I thought he opted out because he did say, I want an extension to match Steph Curry in years. So I want the years that Steph Curry got, so we can all ride into the sunset together. So Steph Curry got 3 years left on his contract. Give me a 3-year extension. I can leave with Steph. But what is he going to ask for money-wise? Did he opt out to take less than that 27 mil a year? Or did he opt out to turn around and ask for the max, get the 3 years, and be somewhere above 30 a year? That's the question. And I'm going to play for you what Dunleavy said when he was asked about it.
Mike, you said there aren't that many huge decisions to make, but obviously most of us on the way driving over here heard about Draymond opting out. And one, were you expecting that? And two, I mean, you are getting thrown kind of right into the fire of a pretty critical summer for this team as terms of what it's going to look like in the future. Just, are you prepared for that? And again, were you surprised about Draymond?
Yeah, so I saw the report too. Until we get the paperwork and the filing, we can't really comment or say much. So I will say, I think Steve has said it, and I'll reiterate, we really want Draymond back. What he means to this organization, this team, in terms of trying to win at the highest level, we feel like we have to have him. So that's very important. Beyond that, yeah, I mean, I think a lot can be made of all the challenges that are coming our way, whether it be aging roster, the new CBA with some of the limitations there, anything else you can bring up. But we're aware of all those things, but we also feel like we're in a great place because we've got a competitive owner willing to spend and a group that's really tied in. It's got good synergy, good processes, good sound decision making. So we feel confident we can navigate it.
Yeah, so all of three key things he said in there that was real important. He said, one, we really want Draymond back. Number two, we feel like we need him back. And number three, we got an owner that's ready to spend money, right? If I'm Rich Paul, if I'm Clutch Sports, if I'm Draymond Green, I'm listening to that and I'm taking all that to the table. Look, your whole this whole thing is over if I walk, and I'm walking if I don't get what I want, right? So I don't want to hear about me taking less for the greater of the team. I'm going to ask for as much as I can get, and that's what I want, or I walk. You know, so it's gonna be real interesting. I mean, I would be shocked. I would be shocked if these are the two things I don't think is going to happen. I don't think Draymond Green is opting out and taking less than that 27 mil for two reasons. All the reasons I said, plus Poole is making 28 mil. And I just think that the competitive nature of Draymond Green and the volatile relationship between Poole and Green, I don't think Draymond would even feel good about himself next season with Draymond Green making 27 or less and Poole making 28. I just don't think I don't think he down for that. You know, if they gave him 29, as long as it's more than Poole, I think he'd be cool there. Because I think the situation with Poole was, I think Poole was boasting a little bit, knowing he was about to get that bag, knowing he was about to get that contract. And I think there was some chirping going on between Draymond and Poole, and probably Poole and everybody else. And Poole probably mentioned, "Hey man, you on your way out? They about to give me the money." You know, and I think some of that stuff led up to the frustration and the tension in them right before the punch. Right. So because there was so many reports coming out from we don't know who that was saying Poole was cocky and Poole was talking to some of the veterans on the team and being disrespectful and boasting about his contract he was about to get and all that stuff, right? And just from the people that was reporting it, like Colin Cowherd, just put two and two together. Colin Cowherd has a business relationship with Draymond Green. Colin Cowherd is not in Oakland or not in San Francisco. It's not like he's got his, like he's not a beat writer. So the news he's getting, I'm trying to figure out the easiest way he can get that news. Is he really going out there doing the work, hitting the streets, getting quotes from people in the organization? Or is Draymond bringing him to the organization? Because he would always say on his show, I know people close to Steve Kerr that is telling me this. He would always say people close to Steve Kerr. And I don't know what that exactly means. I don't know if that's somebody that work in the front office. I don't know if there's somebody related to Steve Kerr. Or I don't know if there's a player that's just a way he says it when he's trying to keep them anonymous. You know, a person close to Steve Kerr tells me Poole is cocky. He deserved that punch, X, Y, and Z. Sound like stuff that's coming straight from Draymond to the people that he know can get it out to the mainstream, right? So I don't expect Draymond to take anything less than what Poole has got, especially if Poole is still on the roster next year. And I low-key don't expect Poole to be on the roster next year anyway, because if they bring Draymond back, Poole's got to go. You know, that relationship's not fixed. You know, so and it bled into the team and the chemistry and the play. And, you know, it pretty much disrupted the whole season. So that team's not whole right now. So I expect Poole to be gone. Now, when Dunleavy was asked about it, he did say, we got Poole locked up for 4 years and we expect to have him for 4 years. That's what he said. But that's posturing as well. Like, because you can't come out there and say, nah, we looking to trade Poole, because now if I'm supposed to be a trade partner with you and I know you want to get rid of a guy, I'm not offering you what I normally would offer you if I think you want to keep him. Yeah, that makes sense. Like if I treasure something, I want to keep something, somebody's going to have to really up the ante on what they offer you to get it. Right. But if I'm trying to throw something away and you see that I'm trying to throw it away, I'm not going to offer you top dollar for something that you about to put in the trash, something that you don't want anymore. So yeah, they're saying they want to keep Poole, but I'm pretty sure, I'm quite sure the fate that Wiseman was given in Golden State is the fate that all the newcomers they bought in is about to see, except Wiggins, right? Poole, Kuminga, Wiseman, and probably Moody. All those guys are gone. Now, these are guys that was brought in to replace Draymond and Clay, and that was going to rebuild around Steph with new guys. And I think Bob Myers was initiating that. I think he might have convinced the owner that we need to find these replacements and bring them in. Let's draft the guys that's going to replace them. They're going to be cheaper, and then we can just move. You know, we can get them. They can be on the roster 2 or 3 years with the vets, and then once the vets run out to the sunset, we can just move right on with Steph Curry for his last 4 or 5 years in the league with this young blood of Poole, Kuminga, Wiseman, and Moody. That's what they thought they was going to do. What ended up happening is they get these guys in. They did play well. Clay and Dre came back. They played well. Dre didn't play so well in the championship round against the Celtics. But they won, and now you got a decision to make. Do we try to run it back, or is it time to pull a plug on Clay and Dre because they're becoming too expensive? So they come back in the next year, and when everybody found out Poole was about to get that contract, it ruffled some feathers because that's Clay's replacement, and Clay is Steph's and Draymond's boy. So if you're replacing my boy, now we got a problem with you. Not just Clay had a problem with Poole. Now we got a problem with you as well. And so was Steve Kerr. He's in that same bunch with the core three of Steph, Clay, and Dre. Steve Kerr is there. And then here you got Bob Myers, who was trying to replace those guys. That's why I think Bob Myers is out of Golden State. He didn't want to deal with that because look, I'm trying to make sure that we're good for the next 10 years. So I drafted the replacements. Steve Kerr didn't want to play them. Steve Kerr didn't want to play Wiseman. Poole was on a short lease. If he made a mistake, he was daggone there blamed for it, benched, whatever the case may be. You know, Clay could make way more mistakes than Poole can make, and Clay still was going to get the same minutes as if he was Clay from 5 years ago. You know, it was so much stuff going on, and it was personal, and it was messing everything up. So I think Golden State is making the decision. Well, look, let's just pay the old guys. Let's be loyal to them. Let's pay them the money because that's the only way we'll keep this thing going. So we just got to get rid of all the guys that we tried to draft to replace them. So Kuminga and Poole both gonna be out. I was going through Twitter, and I see this moriahmills entertainer, and she was tweeting saying that the Pelicans need to trade Zion, and if they don't trade Zion, I'm going to release the sex tapes that we have and I have on my phone. And he was saying trade them or I release them. And I'm like, okay, that's blackmail. That's probably the 200 tweet in the last 7 days that she's tweeted about Zion. So now it's becoming harassment, extortion. She's asking for money. Where's my wire? So she's extorting them, blackmailing them. She even extorting the Pelicans by saying, if you don't trade them, I'm going to release the videos, and cyberbullying. It's all of the above. And it seemed to be a double standard because I don't hear an outcry from any other groups. The feminist group, no men's rights group, no media members, no LGBTQ, nobody in the NBA, nobody that represents the NBA. No, everybody's quiet. They're just letting this girl go on and do what she needs to do online. And I'm like, this is crazy. And I'm trying to think, if the shoe was on the other foot and there was some male entertainer that was getting paid to come and turn tricks for Skylar Diggins, I shouldn't say nobody's name, some WNBA player, and some male entertainer was tweeting as many as tweets saying the same exact things about her that she is saying about Zion, would there be an outcry? Would there even have been more than 2 tweets before his whole account got taken down and he was canceled and all of the above? There's definitely a double standard, right? And this is definitely not funny. That was funny at first, man. Like, I heard all the jokes. I even made jokes, man. I said he's banging in the paint in more ways than one. He's celebrating Juneteenth instead of Juneteenth. All the jokes, man. I had jokes too, man, but this is not funny anymore, right? And I don't even have a lot to say about it. I just wanted to point out the double standard and say that I think Zion should take legal action. I like the way he's not responding and he's not saying anything. I don't think his significant other is saying anything either. I think she was at the beginning, but now she's radio silent. And I think that's the right thing to do. So whoever's advising him to not say a word is they're doing good by that, right? But I do think in the background they should be taking legal action. I would sue her for defamation. I would sue her for slander. I would sue her for so many things because she's trying to lead up to some type of lawsuit herself. Her pain and suffering is obvious by all these tweets. That's what she's trying to show. And when she say I've suffered mentally and all this stuff, and I haven't eaten in days, and she started saying all this stuff, and I need him to pay for my doctor's bills. I got to see my therapist daily. When she started saying all this stuff in court and asking for this money and saying, he was giving me $100K a month, and I was accustomed to that, and now he took it away. When she started doing this, he's going to need to be able to countersue, and he's got a plethora of things that he can sue for. Like I said, harassment, blackmail, extortion, all that stuff is there, and it's all documented on her Twitter, on social media. It's not going nowhere, right? So I don't know what her end game is, but I don't think she's playing the game the right way. I think this is going to backfire on her. But on another note, Zion wasn't smart in this situation either. I mean, you got to be able to pick him better than that. She's not even all that attractive, right? And you should know toxic when you see toxic, right? So, I don't know what I don't know what it's like to have that many millions of dollars. So I don't know if I would be sending somebody $100K a month. I don't know. I doubt it, but I can't speak on what a millionaire do, because evidently this is normal. Evidently someone has told these young players, in my opinion, I think someone has told them when they came in as rookies, hey, look, you're going to have a lot of people trying to get your money, blah, blah, blah. You get married, they tell them the horror stories like Marcus Strahan losing half. I think Jordan in his divorce, Juanita Jordan got half his money. Everybody getting divorced and getting half of it. They worked for 20 straight years in the NBA, and everything they accumulated, they mess around and get a divorce, half of it is gone. Right. So these are the horror stories they're probably telling them about marriage. And they're probably saying it's probably cheaper. Because think about it. If you earn $500 million in 15 years of playing NBA, you leave with $500 million and you was married 5 or 10 years to someone. What they're saying is, in that divorce, if y'all have kids, it's off top child support. Then the second thing is going to be she's getting half of that 500 mil. That's 250 mil gone, right? And plus child support. So she's getting 250 mil. You're splitting all the assets, and then from the 250 mil you got left, you're paying alimony and child support. So she get half of your stuff from the day of divorce, and then the half that you keep, she get a piece of that pie as well, and alimony and child support. Right. So someone's telling them it's probably cheaper not to get married and just find 2 or 3 girls you can give $50K, $100K a month until you done with them, that's cheaper. Just think about it. $500K split, she get $250 plus alimony monthly, which is probably gonna be $100K a month, and then child support for how many kids y'all got, which would probably be another $100K a month. So I think that's what's going on. I think someone, because all the NBA players that are retired that are talking about this, Gilbert Arenas and all these guys that's talking about this, they're acting like this is normal. He just got caught. This is nothing. He said everybody in the NBA is doing this, but the girl they're dealing with, they're not talking. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna listen to what they're saying, because I had my own opinion. I thought this was dumb of him, but evidently everyone's doing it. So okay, I'm not saying just because everyone is doing it, it makes it okay, but I'm saying that this is normal, I guess, in the NBA and NFL amongst millionaire athletes. But the logic behind it has to be someone's telling them it's when we was coming up, they was telling us it's cheaper to keep her. So if you do get married, don't get divorced. It's cheaper to keep her. But I guess what they're telling them now, take a step further than that. It's cheaper just not to get with her at first. It's cheaper not to marry her at all. Don't get married. You can have baby mamas. The worst thing that's gonna come out of that is child support, not alimony, not half your stuff in a divorce. Only child support, and you're gonna pay that anyway if you get divorced. You're paying child support. So think of it that way: half your stuff, alimony, child support, or pay a busted baby once a month, and possibly she might get pregnant and you might have child support. That's what I think this whole thing comes down to. I think that's what you see going on with this Zion thing. This girl is going nuts though. And it is what it is, man. But the last thing I wanted to talk about is the NBA draft. Only the number 2 pick though. All right, because we already know Wembanyama is going to San Antonio. He's gonna be the number 1. We know that. We knew that as soon as they got their pick, right? But as far as number 2, there's been some debate between Scoot Henderson and Brandon Miller. And I think what the debate is they saying, okay, we already got a point guard with LaMelo Ball, a 6'6", 6'7" point guard. So keep that in mind. Now we bringing another point guard in Scoot, even though he's the best prospect. What do we do with 2 point guards? And they were saying he was measuring at 6 foot, 6'1" or whatnot. And then after the combine, it was like, no, he actually measured at 6'3", close to 6'4". And then everybody kind of changed their mind. Now, Brandon Miller is a 6'8" guy, 6'9", long arms, put you in the mind of maybe Danny Granger, but with a little bit more mobility. So in between Danny Granger and Paul George, you would say. I wouldn't say his defense is what I think Paul George was when he was young, but his shooting is there. As far as him handling the ball, playmaking, doing anything one-on-one, I think he's average. He don't lack it. I think he's average. Now, the Scoot Henderson though, this guy, his knock was, of course, his height and the fact that he plays the same position as LaMelo. But he's a scorer though. So, and LaMelo is naturally a passer who can score. He's gifted, right? So I don't think you lose anything. I talked about this before. I don't think you lose anything by having that backcourt. 1 6'7", 1 6'3", right? One handles the ball, one is off the ball. It's the same thing it was with Kyrie and James Harden in Brooklyn. James Harden was the bigger guy at 6'5", 6'6", right? He's the bigger guy. But he's handling the ball and he's doing the passing. And the scorer was Kyrie Irving. So he was off the ball, right? So for all intents and purposes on offense, Harden was the point guard, Kyrie was the 2 guard. But on defense, now whoever the big guard is will guard the big guard from the other team. So Harden would guard the 2 guard and Kyrie would guard the point guard. I see that the same way with this. You had this backcourt of Scoot, and don't get me wrong, just because he's the number 2 pick don't mean he gonna start right away. I don't even think LaMelo Ball started right away. So maybe he's backing LaMelo up for a little while. Maybe he's doing what's my man for the Kings name that I like a lot. man, what is my man for the Kings? Davion Mitchell, right? The point guard. You know, he could start at a couple of places, but you got De'Aaron Fox there, so he's backing De'Aaron Fox up. You're not gonna play them both side by side because of the size. So you got that option as well. I think you take Scoot. I think you start him. I think you got the same dynamic where on offense, LaMelo Ball is running the offense, and Scoot is looking for his shot off the ball. But when you come back on the defensive end, I would put LaMelo Ball on the bigger guard, even though he's slight. He's still 6'7", right? He's gonna have to defend. I'm forcing him to defend, so I'm putting LaMelo Ball off the ball on the big guard, and I'm putting Scoot on the point guard with the ball, and I think it'll work that way. You know, so his shooting for Scoot, I like a lot of people said his shooting was a problem because of the percentage. His 3-point percentage, it was low. However, when I see this guy work and when I look at his shot mechanics and how he's repetitive, like it's not like he shoots different. He might shoot 5 shots in a row and all 5 look different. You know what I mean? Nah, he's shooting the same shot every time, and he's shooting it well, right? The form looks great, and that's how I know Jordan wasn't going to be always challenged as a jump shooter, because his jump, even in college, I mean, if you look at that game winner he hit with the Tar Heels in the championship game, pitch perfect form, right? It's a lot of work that went in that shot, and you don't put that much work in and it don't turn into actually a shot that you can rely on. Totally different from Westbrook, totally different from LeBron James. I'm talking about these robotic these robotic looking shots with the mechanics is just not good. You know, those what those shots are. Scoot don't have those type of shots. He's got a smooth stroke, and his percentage is going to go higher. He's going to be a good shooter. I don't know about 3-point shooter. I think he'll be average with that. But his mid range, his pull up, which those money shots, those shots. Hey, I need a game winner. Get to the elbow, get to a spot, rise up. He's got that, and he got the mentality. He's got the heart. There's no way you pass up on Scoot at number 2. You got to take him at number 2, and who knows if it don't work, then maybe you got LaMelo Ball, who's a good trade bait, and you got Scoot, who's probably the second best player in this draft, who's good trade bait. I'd rather have those 2 guys and it not work because they both need the ball, versus get Brandon Miller and it don't work because he don't turn out as good as Scoot. I don't think Brandon Miller is better than Scoot. That's just my opinion. But that's the episode. Like I said, make sure you like and subscribe. Go to the Man Down Sports page on YouTube. Hit that like button. Subscribe as well. Share it as well. And don't forget, man, 20% off for everyone who used the promo code Man Down on manscaped.com. And you can go and get your grooming tools that you need. I swear by this stuff, man. This stuff is good, man. So make sure y'all do all that stuff, man. I'll see y'all on the next episode. Peace.